Happy Friday. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday, everyone. So it's Valerie Stewart, and I'm coming again. Today is the third day that I'm doing these stories. And I just want to tell you, I'm not looking at the comments because it'll be distracting. But I wanted to share with you a fun story that I thought about, a topic for today, for this Friday. And the topic is how a concert changed my life. Now, if you haven't, if this is the first live that you're coming to, again, my name is Valerie Stewart. I'm from Atlanta, born and raised. The first night I spoke about my passion and how I found my passion. And this is just a continuation of that. So when I did the summer homestay in Japan, so the first one was about how I fell in love with Japan, how I got connected with it, how I went to do a summer homestay in Japan. So it was really um, how that happened. And this is just another part after that. So after I came back from that summer homestay, I realized that I really, really wanted to improve my Japanese. I wasn't at the level that I thought I was, even if I had the equivalent of 6 years in school. It just, just being there in real life, I knew that I did want to go back and I wanted to work. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I decided to major in international business, and I went to the University of Georgia. And while I was there, I took Japanese language classes, and that was great. I was learning at a more intensive level. The instructors were great and everything. But I realized that I needed more intense, needing to study more if I was going to use use the language in a career. So I was, most people, they study abroad their junior year. And so my junior year, I didn't um, do that. But during that year, I decided the following year I did want to study abroad. And it started out being 4 months. So I looked at every program that I could find, and I found one that had a high enough language level. So I went there. So I went to a school in Shiga Prefecture in Japan. A prefecture is like a state, called Japan Center for Michigan Universities. And it's a consortium of, so let me back up. Shiga Prefecture is in the middle of Japan, pretty much toward the middle. It's, if you've heard of Osaka, it is to the east of Osaka. And at east, so it's like Osaka, Kyoto, and then Shiga. And in Shiga Prefecture is the largest lake in Japan, called Biwa. Lake Biwa. It's like the characters, it's like the king of the king of the king of the lakes. So that's the school was there because Michigan and Shiga are sister states. So they built a school in Hikone in Shiga Prefecture. And they also had in Lake Biwa, they had a boat program. So the students, they could go to this university in Japan. Sorry for this backstory. Students could go to this university in Japan as if they were going to their regular university. So it was easy for them. So when I was at this school, there were students from all different Michigan universities. I was the only one that was not from one of those Michigan universities, from University of Georgia. And what they did, and this is just for in case anybody is interested, I became a lifelong student of the Michigan University system, like a continuing education student. That way I could pay um, the same type of tuition. I didn't have to pay out of state tuition to go there. So, with all that being said, I went there originally for 4 months to study Japanese. It was great. It was an intensive program. We lived in a dorm, and they gave you the option to live with a host family. So I did that. Loved my family. There were 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, mother and father. Lived there, rode my bike back and forth to school. So as um, I decided to stay another 4 months, and the longer you stay in Japan, the more you want to acclimate to what's going on. So one of the things that I really wanted to do was go to a concert. And so we had tried, they were looking through, this is 1997. And 1998 was the Winter Olympics in Nagano, but this was 97. So, we were and another student there. We were looking through, at that time, like a magazine or something, because this is like internet was like not really well developed then. So we're going through the magazines and we saw that Boys to Men was playing. So we tried to get Boys to Men tickets, and the way it worked, at a certain time you had to call. They opened up the line, so we're like dialing for dollars trying to get these Boys to Men tickets. But then we had to go to class. So we asked, and I can't believe they did it. I probably wouldn't have done it if I was one of the administrators, but the office lady, she was trying to dial for us. We had one of the students' host sisters trying to get us tickets. It didn't work out. Everything was sold out to see Boys to Men. So that didn't work. So, we're at school and everything, and we're looking again through what things to do. There you go to school Monday through Friday. On the weekends, you want to hang out and have a good time. So a lot of times we take the train to Kyoto and Osaka. It was probably like an hour train trip. We go there all the time. It wasn't an issue. You didn't want to ditch class because you lived in a dorm. So it didn't make any sense to do that. But we would look for things to do. So we found out, fast forwarding, in about February or so, that Erykah Badu was coming to Osaka. Try to get those tickets. We figured out, the office lady, again, bless her, she helped us figure out what was a strategy for us to get tickets. So on that day, we figured out you had to go to this convenience store that also sold tickets. You went to the convenience store and you bought your tickets. And, we went there right when the tickets came on sale. We were determined, like, yes, we want to go see Erykah Badu. So we buy the tickets. Everything was great. Before we went to buy the tickets, there were 2 other girls in the school. I have a picture. And we asked them, did they want to go as well? And they said yes. And so we got tickets, 4 tickets for us to go. And it turned out that we didn't have to rush as far as we could, as much as we were rushing and trying to get these tickets, that it was like a general admission. There were no seats. So these were the girls that went to the concert with me. So there's me standing in the back, and then Kyra, and then the Japanese girl was Kyra's, like, the school we were at, they also taught English to Japanese, anyone that wanted to take it. So she was there for the English program. So this was the 4 of us. She didn't go, but the 4 of us, we went to the concert. So we left half day school. We were like, if it's an all standing concert, we want to do it. We want to get there when the doors open and get up as close to the stage as we could. So we left school, took the train to Osaka. We're there early enough to get something to eat. couldn't find where the place was, where this concert was like out on the outskirts of Osaka. It was really weird. It was on the outskirts. It wasn't like in a downtown area. So there really wasn't a lot of place to eat. We went into this restaurant and we're sitting down at the table and it was like these bugs and I don't know if they were roaches or whatever, just running around. We politely folded up the menus and ran out of there, shaking our bags, making sure we didn't bring anything else. So I don't even think we found a place to eat. I think we just went to like a convenience store or something and got something to eat. So we're waiting for them to open up the venue for us to go in. We're early, but we weren't the only ones. There was probably like the line started to form and there was maybe like 20 or 30 people lining up, but we're kind of at the front. So we're all excited. Doors open. We get inside and we realized that there were VIP tickets that were like in the front and we were in the back. So I'm like, out of all this, I'm waited all this time to go to see Erykah Badu, and we had to stand like behind this barrier, and the people who were supposed to be in the front, they were not there. I don't know what they were doing. They were just hadn't showed up or whatever. So we're behind this barrier, and then more people started to come at the back, like midway it was like some clubhouse, midway the clubhouse. And so people were, they were kind of like pressing their way through and it was getting uncomfortable and I'm short and I couldn't really see. And I'm thinking, you know what, this is just going to be like, I don't know, like, can I see? And it's like one of those things. What's the most comfortable position that I could get in? Just kind of like positioning myself to tiptoe this whole night. So there wasn't a lot of people there. Everyone was mostly Japanese. There was a couple other foreigners, but it was just us. So we didn't really see anybody else. Maybe there was a Japanese man and maybe like someone Japanese woman and maybe someone from the military together. I don't know. But I didn't see a lot of foreigners. It was mostly Japanese people. So the concert started. It was great. I mean, turns out we could see better than we thought we could. It was great. Like this is when she first kind of came out. So it was like that On and On album, the one that had Tyrone on it, like all her first songs. So it was a really great concert. So when it was finished, we were like, let's see. Like, no, when it was finished, we went on the other side of the barrier and we were like, I wonder if we could meet her. We were just thinking that, and we were just figuring out, like, do y'all want to go get something to eat, like, before we go on back to the dorms? So we're standing up there, and it was the four of us, and this guy comes up, and I guess he was production, and he was like, how did y'all like the concert? And so I feel bad for doing it now. I probably shouldn't have. So they said, the other three were like, it was great. It was fun. I enjoyed it and everything. And I said, because sometimes I just kind of speak my mind, not even really thinking. I said, I couldn't really see. It was good, but I couldn't really see. Which wasn't true. I mean, it wasn't really, really true because I could see her. So then the guy, he said, really? And we were like, yeah, we were kind of in the back behind. Now they started to say, yeah, we were kind of in the back behind. He was like, I'm going to see if I can get y'all to meet Erykah. We're like, Erykah? You mean we're going to really get to meet Erykah Badu? And we're like, okay. So we're waiting there. And then this other lady comes up. So we're all like 21, 20, 22, that age, because we're still in college. And we're young. This a little bit older woman comes up to us and she said, oh, who are y'all? Why are y'all here? And we're like, oh, we're studying abroad. We're in Shiga. And she was just like, oh, well, I teach, I'm like, why are you here? And she was like, oh, I teach English on the JET program. And I'm like, the JET program? I didn't really know what that was or whatever. So she was telling us that she was on the JET program. And then it came back to me. I'm familiar with the JET program, but I hadn't really thought about it. So listening to her and everything, and she's telling us she rode a bus for like 3 or 4 hours to be there. And she was so excited. So she was like, so are y'all getting ready to leave? And we said, no, we're waiting. He said, we can meet Erica. And she was just like, well, I'm with y'all. And we're like, but we only told him it was 4. And she was just like, but I'm with y'all. So soon after, he came back and he was just like, you can come with me. And we're like, for real? And he was just like, yeah, y'all 4 can come with me. And then he saw her and he was like, I thought it was 4. He was like, no, she's with us. So we all go back there. We meet her. This when her baby 7 was like a little baby. Some of her background singers were there. It was kind of like, wow, we get to meet Erica. It was just really nice. She was just so like, it was kind of an awestruck moment. And so I do have receipts. I'm not making this up. So here's the picture of us backstage. In the front right here, that's Carolyn. She was the teacher. And then the rest of us was from school. Now, the only thing about this picture that I didn't like, I don't know what was up with my hair. I mean, it was rough. It was rough for us. We didn't have any place to get our hair done or whatever. I had just taken my braids out. It was just one of those things. But yeah, there she is. There she is. It was so Kyra, let me go back. Kyra right here. Why did I think she knew that she was going to try to meet her because she had poems written in her bag. She had a gift for 7. Like it was just, I'm like, I would never have thought to do that, but she had a gift and everything for that. So when we left, before we left, and I say while we were waiting to meet Erica, Carolyn, while we were waiting to meet Carolyn, Erica, we exchanged messages with Carolyn. So we got her number and everything. So that was really great. So she went back on the bus and we went back on the train and we were so, so excited. And Kyra actually, because um, because she brought the gifts and everything, I guess in that little moment, she made a connection with Erica and she was able to take her own picture. So that was really exciting. But the interesting thing about that is that we stayed in touch with Carolyn. And so Carolyn happened to be the teacher. And, maybe I would say it wasn't spring break, but it was a long weekend. We got to, Kyra and we went to visit Carol. So we took the train. She lived really far out. We took the train to meet her. And so we get there in the middle of the night. She comes to pick us up with a car. And I'm like, one, that had me sold right there because here she is living in Japan and she had a car. And like, we're by this time, February, haven't been there since August before. We're riding bikes everywhere, walking or taking the train. So to see someone here looking like me that had a car, I was just excited for that. And she took us to her apartment. She had a beautiful apartment. And I'm just taking mental notes. I'm like, she's got a car, she's got an apartment. She was talking to us. She was like, yeah, I send half my money home every month when I get paid. And I'm like, you have enough to live on that you're sending half your money home? Like that's just amazing to me. And then, so we spent the night, that was like Friday, and she was telling us what was going on that Saturday. She was like, sometimes I volunteer at the local um, elementary school. Well, no, kindergarten. And I'm thinking, you're doing all this volunteering as well. So I went with her. We went with her to the kindergarten, played with the kids. I mean, it was really great fun. And then after that, she told us that she was doing a charity fashion show. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you have a car, a nice apartment, you're sending half your money home, you're doing volunteer work, and you're putting on a charity fashion show. And all of this, because you're teaching English in Japan. I'm like, what is this program? I want to apply. And so when we got back to her home, like models came and they were trying on clothes for this fashion show. And she was telling us, she was just like, you all, when y'all graduate, you need to apply for this program. We need more people of color. We need more Black women on this program. And she wasn't from the US. She was actually from Canada. But it didn't matter because she was just like, you need to apply. And so from there, I just felt like, you know what? It was just seeing her live this life of actually, like, I studied abroad and I never knew what I wanted to do. I never knew what type of job or career path that I wanted to pursue. But seeing her do that, I'm thinking, all of this, I could work there after college and then save a little bit of money, like, and then come back and then work in my field. I'm like, you know what? I think that that's what I want to do. So when we graduated from the school, I go back home. So when I go back to Georgia, it is my senior year. I don't know what happened. My classes I didn't get any credit for those 8 months that I was there in Japan, except for I did get a minor. So I they switched. When I left, it was on the quarter system. When I got back, it was semester. And so I took 5 classes my first semester. The second semester, I had 2 jobs and 7 classes. But that first semester, I figured out how to apply to this program. And I researched every single prefecture in Japan. There's and I could be saying it wrong, there's either 49 prefectures in Japan. I'm like, I'm going to pick where I want to stay. I want to make sure that it has what I want there. Because if I'm going to stay there for at least a year, then, I'm going to research everything. So I researched every single prefecture. I looked to see what type of resources they had. And I happened to find one. And when we go back, when I was studying abroad there on spring break, I took a trip by myself through the southern part of Japan. And when I went to this one part, it was really rural, but they had an airport. They were building an airport. And I'm thinking, I want to drive. Because if I go back to Japan, I'm not riding my bike like I did before. So I want to drive. So if I pick a place that no one is probably going to pick and request, maybe I will get that place. And so I put down for my choice, rural Saga Prefecture. So this place was in between. It's in the island of Kyushu, above Nagasaki Prefecture and below Fukuoka Prefecture. And it's just rice fields and nothing. Nothing. So that's what I put as my first choice. And then I think my second and third choice, I maybe put Shiga where I was before, and then some other places. So when I came back to Japan, when I came back to the University of Georgia, I had all those classes, I'm studying, but I knew I had to graduate. I applied for this program, and I got selected to the interview. And of course, I'm super excited. So I go through the interview. The interview was in Atlanta. I got there, and in the interview, I swear that I bombed my chances. There was a former alumni on the program. There was, at that time, I thought he was a Japanese man, but now I know that he was Korean. And then this professor from Spelman University, and he was Black. And they, have you ever been in a situation where someone asks you a question and you answer, then they question why you answered that question that way? That was the whole interview. They asked me a question, they'd say something and I'd give an answer. And then they say, well, why did you say that? You know what I'm thinking? I don't know why I would say that. I'm like starting to doubt myself and everything. I just totally want to run out and cry and hide. So I just knew that my whole chance, I had worked up to that moment, researching everything, taking all those classes, knowing I had to um, graduate by August, stressing myself out. And I'm like, well, I just bombed my chance. So that was February, beginning of February, and I had to wait till April. So I just continued on. I'm interviewing for all these jobs I didn't even really want because that is the job that I wanted. So come April, I go to the mailbox, I get this big manila envelope, and I'm like, usually if it's a small envelope, it's probably a rejection letter. If it's a big envelope, then maybe I got in. So I open it, and they're just like, you're an alternate. you're, you're an alternate. So an alternate means you didn't score high enough to be accepted. And if one of those who say they want to do it later change their mind, or if for some reason more school systems need more teachers, then you can go. So it's kind of wait and see. But again, with this program, you had to be graduated by August of that year. And if you get accepted, or if you're like an alternate and you decline it, then there goes your chance. You can never apply again. But if you don't make it, you can apply again. And if I was an alternate and if by October of that year I wasn't selected, then I could try again for the next year. So I'm believing that I'm going to get this because I wanted it so bad. Like that was all I could think about. And so I'm believing, and I went forth like that is what I was going to do. If someone asked me, what are you doing once you graduate? Oh, I'm going to work on the JET program. What are you doing? I'm going to work on the JET program. So JET, Japan Exchange and Teaching Program, we worked in public schools. You work for the Japanese government in public schools. Your employer on record is either like the town, the city, or the state, like prefecture. So I'm still believing I'm gonna get it. I still believe I'm gonna get it. So I kind of stopped interviewing for a lot of other jobs. I um, did some like temp work to make some extra money in the summer. And I'm like in my head believing that I'm gonna get it. So now it's time for graduation, and I meet with my advisor, which I do add, I worked for her. I was her student, like worker. So I worked for her all year. I was in her office like 2 or 3 days. So if something was wrong, if I wasn't on track to graduate, she should have told me. So we're in our last like meeting. She's going over everything, making sure I'm on track. Now, by this time, I'd already um, ordered my graduation announcements, cap and gown. My name was printed in the book. Like graduation was like in a week. I think we'd already taken the finals, like, or we were in the midst of finals. She says, she's like flipping through papers, like flipping through, and I'm like, what is going on? And she said, you're one class short. Like, what are you talking about? I'm one class short. You're one class short. There's like 3 credits or something that you need to take. I'm like, I know you're lying. Check again. So she checked. She was like, no, you are like one class short. And I'm like composing myself because I'm like, I'm graduating. If I don't graduate, then I can't go on this program and I can never do it. And she was just like, just take the summer off, go have fun, and then come back and you can take the class in the fall. Because unfortunately, international business doesn't have any other classes that you can take. Like there was a Maymester, and it was like a month from like the beginning of May to like the very beginning of June. You could take a class in the Maymester. She was like, there's no international classes that fit this requirement that you can take for Maymester. So just take your time. I was like, no, that's not acceptable. I was like, what if I changed my major? She was like, I guess you could do that, but why would you want to do that? You're just one class short of the international business degree. I was like, no, look into it. See what would happen if I changed my major. So she's looking and she was just like, okay, there is one class that you could take. It's Real Estate 102 and it's in the Maymester, and it's kind of got an international spin on it. It might be good. It was real estate development. She was like, but I don't think you could do it. I was like, why not? Because you have to take Real Estate 101. I was like, I took that class. I had taken Real Estate 101, so now I could get in the Maymester. So, at this point, it's just amazing how like these little chance things happen. And my path was being able to be set. So I did the Maymester. Well, I went and I changed my major from international business to general business. And she was like, you can tell everybody that you have an international business concentration. I'm like, that's fine, but really, I don't really care about that. Like, that's fine. I took the coursework. I did get a minor when I studied abroad, a minor in Japanese language and literature. That was fine. So I changed my major, took that May course, worked hard, got an A. So I knew that I was going to graduate and my diploma would say August 1999. So now all I was doing was just waiting to hear if I was selected, if I would get accepted to that program. I was an alternate and I went to orientation like all the other new teachers were going. So I went to orientation in the summer, myself and my mother. It is funny though, I met one of my classmates who took Japanese in high school with me. And so she had got accepted as not a teacher, but a coordinator for international relations, which she would work more on the government level in the city hall or something, doing mostly translation. So when she found out that was doing the teaching and not the CIR, I think it kind of shocked her because when we were in school, I always was like, this was me and this was her. Like always. When we did speech contests, I get first, she gets second. Like every year. But for me, I'm like, if I want to go, I want like the best experience that I could have. And for me, that was working directly with the students, not just sitting in an office. So that's why I chose that path instead of the other one. But she had gotten accepted. She was going to Kumamoto, which was the sister state for Georgia. I was happy for her. I was still an alternate. I don't think I told people that I was an alternate, but I'm telling it wrong. So I had found out just before that I actually had got accepted. So I went through this whole time thinking that I hadn't been accepted. I was still an alternate. And one day I get a phone call. And back then it was just, we weren't there. I got a voicemail message. It was on the answer machine at home. And the guy, he said, you've been accepted to the JET program. I mean, that was like the happiest moment of my life. I got accepted for something that I wanted to do that started out a year and a half before meeting this lady at an Erykah Badu concert. That's how I got to that point. And, for y'all coming online, yes, I went to see Erykah Badu. There's the picture. Sorry if it's not clear or in focus. I apologize. I'll post it on my page. But this was the interesting part. So when I went to the orientation, right before the orientation, I had called the guy back and I said, where am I going to be placed? Like what city or whatever? So he said, you're going to be in Saga Prefecture in Genkai Town. And I'm thinking, I was kind of speechless because that was my first choice. That was what I put down and said, that is where I want to be. And to think that even as I didn't get accepted right away, I was an alternate, I got that exact placement. Exactly. And I'm thinking that, it was meant for me to be on this program. Like everything was just working out like just unbelievable. And so when I went to that orientation and I'm checking in, I hear somebody kind of shouting out in the room, who's the person going to Genkai Town and Saga? Who's going to Saga? And I'm like, what are you talking to me? And I was like, oh, I'm going to Saga in Genkai Town. He was just like, I lived in Karatsu, the town right next to Genkai. And so he's giving me like all of these places to go to, places to stay. I mean, it was just amazing. And like this guy right here, he had apprenticed at a yakitori place. Like if you think of like kind of like shish kebabs, like skewered meat on a stick, that's where he had apprenticed at. And so when he came back to Atlanta, he opened up a restaurant similar to that. And it was really famous. And then he closed down and he opened up another restaurant. But it was just amazing how like everything was aligning. So I went and I stayed I ended up 3 years on that program. It's another story for another day, how 2 years I was in one town and two in the other. And I'm just giving you all of this backstory about me so you can see like where I've come from to see where I'm going. But, this was just a story, just to recap of me going chance encounter when I was studying abroad in Japan to go to an Erykah Badu concert. At that concert, I met a lady named Carolyn who was on the JET program. Because of her, I um I applied to this program. I got on the program, having to change my major in school to do so when I had one class left before graduation. The place that I put in my application of where I wanted to be was the place that I got accepted. And so to me, when you write down your goals, when you write down your dreams and aspirations and you believe on them and you do what it takes to put those in motion, if it's meant for you, it will happen. And so that's just the end result that I have to say. But if there's anything that I said that sparks your interest or you want to learn more, I encourage you to follow me. Also, if you want to reach out, I'm happy to talk to you as well. One last time, here's that picture. I'm going to post it and I'm going to tag Erykah Badu and we will see if she reaches back out to me. But thank you again for listening to my story of how a concert changed my life. And happy Friday and have a great day.